What's up, guys? It's John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Today, I want to talk about emptying ourselves of emptiness. This sounds kind of like a conundrum, an oxymoron, something that doesn't make sense. It behooves the mind. Emptying ourselves of emptiness doesn't seem to really make any sense to the mind, and that's okay. The mind doesn't need to make sense of it. What we need to experience this in our own experience. And emptying ourselves of emptiness is a huge part of the path of the soul. There is a lot of emptiness when we walk the path of the soul, and you can go and see for yourself. I'm not here to just tell you about this emptiness. I'm here to help people experience it for themselves and to see what it's about. As we begin to let go of our attachments of the ego identity, as the truth will set us free, the freedom brings with it, at least on the way to the freedom, brings with it a divulging, a letting go, a shedding away of layers, an undoing, an unlearning, a reversing. It leaves us feeling empty, deficient, worthless. We have reactions to the emptiness, the resulting emptiness. The reactions are self-hatred, avoidance, tactics that the ego personality's defenses, repression. There's all kinds of ways that the ego deals with it. But the ultimate bottom line is there's more emptiness. The more and further we go on the path to the soul, it's blackness, it's a blackout. There's no consciousness, there's no awareness that we are aware. There's no consciousness, we're not conscious that there's no consciousness. It goes that far back. It goes back to like the feeling before we knew we were born, before we knew anything. This is a state that's very difficult, very tender. It's terrorizing. It sweeps the rug out from under our feet. We don't know how to behave. We don't know how we'll survive in this type of a mode of being. So my suggestion is that we practice with the small things, so letting go of the small things, and eventually we work our way to the bigger things and all the way up to the ego identity. Once we loosen our attachment to the ego identity, we fall into this black cavity, into this black hole, and there's nothing to hold on to. The ego is gone. The resistance that we feel towards this emptiness is gone, and then all there is emptiness. Now, if we're in the state of emptiness and we still feel the state of emptiness, we still have a state of emptiness. So what we have to do is empty ourselves of even the emptiness. We have to empty ourselves of emptiness. And that emptiness, because a lot of times we're hanging on to whatever is avoiding that emptiness, and sometimes we're avoiding just whatever is going to put us in that state. We have to let go of what we're avoiding. We need to let go of the need to avoid. And that's a very it's a proposition that's not easy to sell, because we don't know what we're going to get from it. We don't know if anything good is going to come out of it. It seems like we're letting go of everything to get nothing. We don't know what the results are going to be. We don't know what the consequences are going to be. But we have to see this for ourselves. And if we love the truth, enough, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll run into. That's what we'll experience. And we have to keep going deeper and deeper into that mystery of nothingness, into that emptiness, and keep letting go of the emptiness and keep letting go of the need to let go. Again, as I said, this is a very difficult place to be, and we don't know how long it's going to last. But I can tell you, in my experience, it was a long time, say in months. It might even be years, just depending on your situation and how much baggage you have to let go of. And the more we avoid this, the more baggage there's going to be, the worse off we're going to be. So it's kind of like, do it now. Don't wait until a later time when it's more convenient to do it. The time is now, always. And we have to put all our heart, all our effort into it. And we have to be bold. We have to be willing enough to sacrifice, to say, it's not worth living my life. That's how deep and how rock bottom we have to go. It's not worth living my life without going through this experience of emptiness and going through the spiritual awakening. Now, arising out of that emptiness after a long, long time of being dissolved, that's what the awakening is about. We awaken out of that blackness, out of that sleep, out of that slumber, out of that coma that we go into. I don't know how that happens. I'm not here to explain it, but that's the process, and that's the way, that's the path. And we can reduce everything, by a process of elimination. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And until we awaken out of that, and then we understand what's happening after we awaken, and we're able to experience a lot more than what the usual modes of physical senses are able to experience in the physical world. There's more subtlety, there's more of a whole nother dimension, whole nother way of being that we're exposed to. And we learned about that, and it shows us, and it guides us. That emptiness is not a punishment. It's not something to ridicule ourselves for. It's not something to judge ourselves for. It's our guidance. And it's difficult to convince someone who doesn't know any better about this, because people are too attached and they're too fixated in their defenses, in their ways of living, and their need to survive. And that attachment, that need to survive, is part of the problem. So that need to survive is going to block us from emptying ourselves of the emptiness. Emptying ourselves of emptiness even requires letting go of our desire to survive. It requires letting go of all of our desires, our desire to have desire. This is very deep stuff. In theory, it's kind of easy to just talk about it, but to really actually practice and go into it all the way and actually have a felt, lived experience of this direct, firsthand, that's a whole nother thing that we have to consider, because most people just want to talk about it. It sounds nice and sounds dandy, but without having the actual experience, it doesn't help much, because the feelings of worthlessness that we get from emptying ourselves of emptiness is we don't ever want to feel that again. We only want to feel it just enough to get what we want out of it. And we have that type of mentality where it's, what's the word I want to say, materialistic. We want to get something out of it. That's not it. It's more about giving. It's about giving everything we have and giving up everything that we want, all of our future, all of our past, all of our desires. And going forward, it's the same thing. It's not I'm going to do this so that I can get to heaven. That's not it. You're going to give up your need to go to heaven, at least temporarily. Now, all these things kind of come back. So that's part of the thing. People think, if I let go of my mind, I let go of my memories, people are scared they're going to lose it forever. I don't know. That might happen to you. But for me, all these things came back stronger. It came back more real, in a more real way, in a way where I could appreciate these things that I was hanging on to a little bit more. So there's some good news there. It's not like it's all going to be, your whole life is going to be decimated. But there is a certain sense where, your life is not going to be the same again. And that's what people don't want. People kind of don't want things to change. The ego identity is trying to avoid change. It's trying to find stability and security in something. And unfortunately, there's not any stability, at least in my experience, going through the path of the soul. There's nothing to hang on to. That hanging on is the problem. We're hanging on to hanging on. And we're attached to being attached. That's an issue on the path of the soul. That's not the way. That's not the path. The path is emptying ourselves and then emptying ourselves of the emptiness. So we have to practice this, and we need to see what it's like in our own experience. And if it doesn't work, like some people think that, it has to work some way, and they have some type of idea and expectations about how it's going to work. That's not it. We can inquire into, well, why am I not seeing? Why am I not making any progress? What am I looking for? What do I need to let go of? What needs to be exposed? And there's a lot of deep unconscious issues that we have to deal with before we can kind of even get to that place and get to the state where that we empty ourselves of the emptiness and be ready for what's going to arrive after that, because we don't know. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication, and it's not about a belief. Like some people think, oh, if I just believe hard enough, I can make it work. No, that's not how it works either. We have to see for ourselves that the harder we try, the more intensely we believe, the further away we get. Because that's not the truth that sets us free. The truth that sets us free is more about a letting go of our beliefs, or letting go of our need to formulate, of our need to have a mind, of our need to think, of our need to have an idea of a future, of images of what we want to be, in 10 years or so. I mean, all these things have to go. They have to get burned up. That's the process. The truth burns away all the false. And the false is all the things that we think, emptying ourselves of the emptiness is all the things that we try to fill ourselves with. And there's many things. Like everybody has their own what's the word I want to say here? Everybody has their own trip ups, their own substances. So we have to empty ourselves of emptiness, and that's the path of the soul. John Dominique, the soul.